guess I'll start. As I drive around town and think about the economic downturn, I think about what happened at Cabela's this last year. Big company right here in our own hometown. A new CEO, positions being eliminated, positions being switched around. I think in big business, which the city is, this is something we always have to look at. Second of all, I drive around town. I count 40 commercial buildings empty. I count 60 plus homes for sale. I count 150 developed lots that people have entrusted that something's going to happen in this town, and that's why they developed these lots. I think we need to spend a lot of time on economic development. I think our budget is going to hurt. It's at a shortfall now. Now's the time to get started. If we don't, where are we going to cut? We all know that Gary's the best man for economic development. I don't think there's a person in here that would deny that, including me. But I think now's the time to turn him loose full time.
Thank you, Mark.
I guess I had met with Gary since the last meeting, and we had a heart talk. We've been through lots of different issues.
Can't hear you.
Been here 9 years. You want to move up front? Bring your chair up front.
Talk loud.
Okay.
Talk a little louder. And not so much.
We've been here 9 years together, and I guess same as with everybody else here, just openness. I'd like to be the council maybe, when you have the position combined, there's not as much openness as there would be if they were separate. You wouldn't be, you get more of the horse trading deals up front for economic development. What was offered, what wasn't accepted, that type of thing. As it is now, and it's not in the way it's working, except that it keeps the details behind until it's brought forward. So that would be my only issue with that.
I'm sorry, I have a follow-up question. You said now is the time to make the cut?
Now is the time to get started with looking at the cuts we're going to need to make in our budget. We are already at a shortfall with revenues. If we already have a shortfall, that means revenues will not meet expenditures.
So you're not talking about cutting a position as in eliminating the city manager position, you're talking about revenue cuts.
I'm talking about expenditure cuts. Okay, if we have a $150,000 shortfall right now on our revenues, we're going to have to cut $150,000 worth of budget expenditures. And we're only 3 months into the budget.
I have a comment. Okay, so you take Gary and you put him in economic development. Now you're going to have to hire a city manager. You're going to have to come up with another benefits package. You're going to have to come up with another salary, and you're already talking short. You got a man who's doing 2 jobs, and in every one of your own admissions, doing a darn good job at it. So now we're going to split it. Are you going to reduce his wages, or are you going to let go of other people to then begin to make up the shortfall that you're going to have to come up with for a new city manager's?
I think we find somebody within.
How are you going to cover the
So you have a plan?
No,
what
that is my. I don't have a plan. As a councilman, I sit and think.
Yeah.
That is my thought. Is that wrong?
Yep. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there is probably people from within the city that might work as an interim city manager, so Gary can spend his time economic development.
But you're going to have to make up.
I don't know. I mean, that is why we're going to talk as, you know, like Dave said, we're going to have proposals. Is that, I mean,
how are you
That's
going to
all
come
it
up
is
with the salary?
discussion.
How are you going to come up with the salary and the benefits package when you're already short? Are you going to let go of other city employees in order to make it up?
I would hope not.
Bob?
I don't think we'd have to.
You know, does Gary know this is what all this for the past year? Bob, you wanting to separate, and nobody saying what the deal is? The rumor around town is you have Rod Horn ready to be the mayor, or to be the city manager.
Sorry, Dave.
All right. Sorry, Dave.
I'll trade it.
I mean, you have not been up front with us.
That's the general feeling.
And you're very unfair to Gary.
And if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Well, I haven't changed my position. Bob?
I haven't changed my position, no.
I haven't changed my position from the last time, which was I think it's working just fine. I think that when I go to League municipality meetings, I don't have the time to do something like that, but I go to make things better for me, to make me a better council person. And when I go to those meetings, they have Gary come talk, and in that letter they said, well, nobody else in the state does it like we do it. And the reason is they can't find a guy that can do both jobs. We have it. I can tell you if I was a person in Kearney, Nebraska and heard there was controversy in Sidney and Gary might be available, I'd be after him 100%. If I was in North Platte, I'd be doing the same thing. If I was in Scotts Bluff, I'd be doing the same thing. We're lucky. This has been still my position. It's different than the other guys' position. I've been really upfront. I don't go to coffee so that I don't have, I'm going to talk about city business right here where I sit. This has been my position all along. Now, Gary and I have had some discussions and disagreements about giving him some help, and he can tell you we've had those disagreements, and we still have those disagreements, but I worry about the budget just as much, and I think we're lucky, this is my perspective, that we have the situation we have. When you hear him talk, he's the guy that has the experience. When he talks at other groups, they say somehow you need to get rid of just exactly what Dave said. It's a real fine sword. Some people look at that as giving too much power to the city manager and to the economic development person when they're both the same one. Maybe that's true, but I'm willing to give that a chance, knowing that guess what? I bet we get things done in Sidney, and I think the history of what we've done over the last 20 years is envious across the state. And why hasn't anybody else done it? Because we can't find anybody to do it. If they did it in if they did it in Alliance, it'd eliminate 4 jobs. If they did it in Kearney, it'd eliminate 5 jobs. If they did it in North Platte, it'd eliminate 3 jobs. That's why they don't do it. Politically, it's a hard thing to do. So, you want my opinion, I'll probably fight pretty hard to keep it the way it is. Now, if Gary leaves at some point in time, and it's probably going to be hard for him to walk and probably nail his shoes to the floor, but if he does, then I think it's probably going to be a time where finding the next person that can do both them jobs is going to be extremely difficult. Do I think we need to get him some help? Yes. How we do that? I'm not very good at that. He's the expert in economic development. I think that we look at trying to find somebody part-time that can relieve some things that will help him. I'd like to have him come up with a plan for that. That's my opinion.